Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to RedRum Radio. How long has it been since we recorded?
Since we've recorded?
The
Like
last time
2 weeks?
2 weeks?
I think so.
Yeah, we missed.
It
Yeah,
was after Jonathan's
Did you
party.
record last week?
no, I didn't.
Mm.
It's just been so hectic. I don't know if just for me, but these with the holidays and everything, it's just been hectic.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't noticed by now, my two special guests are here. Special guests?
Special guest.
Introduce yourself.
Regular guest.
Wait a minute. Special.
I'm
I
like-
thought when you come twice, you're a regular. But
My
okay.
regular. My co-host.
We're special.
Hi, I'm Bryan. I'm back again.
And I'm Denise, also back again.
Back again from Salem.
Yes.
Ms. Dena took a...
A little trip.
Yeah, it's funny because everybody was like, oh my God, I thought, like, you went to Salem? I'm like, no.
Oh.
I swear you did because I saw your
I
Instagram.
think you asked me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was her.
Yeah, and then everybody at work was like, I thought you were on vacation. I'm like, no, I'm here.
Still in California.
Yeah.
Still on the West Coast.
I had to explain to everybody that Dena's posting on there too now, so. Yeah, but in honor of it, I was going to say in honor of it being Halloween, but it's not. It's over. This episode was supposed to be out
last week.
Yeah, but like I said, everything's been so hectic and busy with. Damn, I'm making it seem like it's so important, the shit that we're doing.
I know.
You're apologizing.
I've had people that are like, I need you guys to record because I'm going on a trip and I need something to listen to.
Dude, I know.
And I'm like, okay, we're on it. We're on it.
Yeah,
we're working on it.
It makes me feel good when people tell me that.
Yes,
I'm just like, what?
Super good.
Yeah, because
thank you for listening.
Yeah, because a lot of I tell people like, please subscribe, whatever, leave a comment, just engage with our pages and stuff. But I obviously don't do that every time I listen to anything. I don't know. People just get lazy, or I get lazy, and I'm just like, it's too much to hit that subscribe button. But for people to let us know that they're listening, I'm like, oh.
I know.
It's like encouraging, and it makes me want to record more. But we've been busy partying on the weekend. That's literally what I mean by being busy.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, having a partner obviously means having a second family. So it's like more parties, more
double
birthdays.
everything.
Yeah, so yeah, we've been busy. But anyways, in honor of Dena being back from Salem, I wanted to do an episode talking about the Salem Witch Trials because I honestly didn't really know too much about it. I don't know if you guys did, but I just knew. I don't even know what I knew, actually. I just kind of was like, people got hung for being witches.
I think we were talking about it a little bit before we set the equipment up. They just sort of talk about it once or twice in elementary school or middle school. They're like
brought up, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't really of importance.
No, they're like, hey, this happened during the colonial period. Next page.
But
and then that's it.
It's like now it's more of a term like, oh, it's a witch hunt. With the whole Donald Trump thing. And, the elections and everything.
And that's where that goes back to.
So it goes back to that.
I actually have some history behind the whole witch hunt thing. So when we get to it, because it's not like it started with Salem. It was popular before that.
Oh, yeah.
It was super popular before that.
I think when it reached Salem, it was almost the end of it, right?
I think so.
That's what I've read, that it was like in Europe, it was like all the craze out there, and then it kind of made its way out here, and this is kind of where it ended.
And this is where our government did our first ever let's hide and destroy evidence that we even did that.
Because it was so fucked up.
It was so fucked up.
Dude, super fucked up. And like I said, I didn't know until I knew I wanted to do this because I wanted to get, obviously she was there physically, so I was like, that'd be dope to kind of get a backstory and then have Dena come on here and talk about her experience actually being out there and visiting all those places that you visited. I had initially told you that I wanted to do it with the Lizzie
The Lizzie Borden house.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even look.
Is that near there?
It's about 45 minutes away from
Salem.
But that's like a
little
whole
under an
story.
hour, and that's just like the traffic. There's so much traffic out there. It's
really
horrible driving out there. Terrible.
Do you think it's because of the tourism or what?
It's just the people that are out there are very mean.
Really?
This is
when they're
Massachusetts?
driving. Massachusetts. Okay. Or
like LA vibes or what?
Worse.
What?
Like literally, like people are tailgating you when there's 2 other lanes on the right side, empty, and they're tailgating you and flashing their lights at you to hurry up, and it's like a 55 zone, and you're going 80, and they're still flashing their lights at you.
Oh my god!
It's so aggressive, and everyone just like yells.
Wow.
And when they speak, they yell. I think I got yelled at almost every single state I went.
That's
really?
wild.
Dude, everybody in New York when I went was like so nice. Everybody was like
New York
friendly.
Was great.
I guess when you get out of the city, everybody turns mean.
Yeah.
Oh, out of the city? You'd think it'd be like vice versa.
Yeah, right? No, like I didn't.
But I did get yelled at in New
that.
York. Besides that, I mean, everyone that I actually met off the road was really nice.
It's so funny.
It's just they're driving.
Yeah, to think that like the United States is one whole.
No, we're
country,
we're like so different.
So different.
So different.
Like the cultures.
Yeah.
Down south and on the East Coast, the West Coast. That's crazy though. I don't know. I don't know why that's.
I always imagined people from Massachusetts to be nice.
Yeah, me too.
Like friendly.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, knowing that they have so much history, that they do have a lot of tourism.
Maybe that's why they're pissed.
I think they're just like on a mission to go somewhere. They're just on a rush. And I don't know. Anyways, besides besides their driving, it was a beautiful state.
Yeah, I seen I love
all the foliage.
Yeah, like the leaves changing colors, dude.
It's something
California
I've never
could
seen.
never. Yeah,
No, never seen
That's
that.
like one of the things that I really look forward.
Fucking magical.
Yeah. You're like, what is it?
Yeah, like wow. Like seeing the fog in the morning with the sun rays going through it and the leaves just falling. What? It's so fucking magical.
I feel like what you're describing is what I would expect from being out there in Salem. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Like
so that I saw
Hocus Pocus vibes.
Yeah, so we got to experience a lot of that in the town called Fall River, and that's where the Lizzie Borden house is. And I think it's just like more of an untouched town. It's just very historical and has a lot of beautiful trees, and everything else had trees too. Salem did too, but I feel like Salem hits more buildings. They have more buildings, historical buildings.
Yeah.
It was such a beautiful, magical place, seeing all these leaves fall, to know that there's just like so many horror stories that happen.
Literally.
So many deaths. The Lizzie Borden house, like this bitch literally hacked her family.
Dude, and it's so funny because I saw the video that you guys took, the boomerang with like the axe. I was like,
we're pretending we're morbid.
That's crazy though. How what is it now? Like a museum or what?
So it's a bed and breakfast.
Oh, yeah. So you could stay there.
Yeah, you can stay there. What? It's a bed and breakfast now.
I don't know why that made me laugh like it did.
I was like, what was that?
Oh, this house has multiple murders inside of it.
Dude, no, did you?
Let's set up a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like because I don't know if you saw the video. But
I mean, people that are into this shit would love to stay there.
Oh yeah.
When I looked into going out there, I tried to get a room, but it was sold out.
Is the not the Conjuring house, but the guys?
Yeah.
It's around there, right?
It's around there. It's about a 45-minute drive from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Conjuring house?
Yeah, like that whole land.
Yeah. Wherever they what were their names? I forgot.
Ed and Lorraine.
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, where they went to do
all their stuff was East Coast. So like Annabelle, I think got bought and is in Vegas right now at the Zach Baggins Museum, but it was originally over there. Mm-hmm. So they had Annabelle over in their like little museum house for the longest time. I thought she
was still at the museum, at their museum.
I'm pretty sure Zach Baggins bought it off of them.
Well, they died, didn't they?
Yeah, she just died recently.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe their shit got auctioned off. I don't know.
No.
Sold.
Zach Baggins has so much money, dude.
Yeah. I
That
didn't
guy has
realize
a
how
lot
much
of money.
money he had. We just looked it up.
Really?
I was like, this fool has millions.
You're like, what do you? How do you? Yeah. From ghost hunting?
From locking Aaron into rooms and forcing him to communicate. I'm like, how much money does Aaron make? Because that fool gets put in the worst situations.
I'm like, which
He
one
needs
is
top
Aaron and
dollar.
who's-
I'm team Aaron.
$30 million net worth.
Yeah.
$30 million
Yeah.
he's worth.
That's crazy.
How about Aaron?
Not enough.
No, he's not
For
getting
the
paid
shit that he has
enough.
to do?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
I'd be asking for top dollar.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to be locking me into rooms,
Yeah.
yeah, that's wild.
But yeah, to think like the East Coast has such a beautiful energy, also has such a dark history.
Yeah. Super, super dark. I didn't know the Conjuring house was over there. I don't know where I thought it was.
It's in Connecticut, right?
Something like that. It's East Coast, but like everything in the East Coast is really
But
super
it's like
close.
those weird fucking states that nobody thinks about. Like Connecticut, I
Like
forgot that even existed.
Massachusetts, New
Rhode
Hampshire,
Island.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, like what is that? Okay, so I did a little bit of research on the Salem Witch Trials because, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't really know too much about the history of it. I just kind of knew that people got hung for being witches. I didn't even know that. Let me just get into it. I kind of rewrote some of the stuff that I found, so if it sounds a little,
You're gonna paraphrase.
yeah. So after this, I want to get your, maybe if you've seen some of the places that I'm going to be talking about, or just your experience there, because I'm really curious. We haven't talked about it at all, about your trip out there. But for that reason, because I wanted to record, but I'm super curious to, besides all the leaves and all the fall vibes, hocus pocus vibes out there, I want to know what the feelings were and all that stuff. So the Salem Witch Trials took place between 1692 and 1693 in Salem, Massachusetts. More than 200 people were accused of practicing witchcraft, or as they called it then, the devil's magic. I'm going to begin this story by talking about the minister of Salem Village during the Salem Witch Trials, Reverend Samuel Parris. Samuel Parris was born in London in 1653. Sometime in the late 1650s, his father moved the family to a plantation he purchased in Barbados. In 1673, Samuel was studying at Harvard in Massachusetts when his father died. He left the school to go back to Barbados and take care of the plantation. In 1680, Samuel moved to Boston, Massachusetts with his two slaves, Tituba and John Indian. Have you guys heard of them? Of Tituba? Have you?
Wasn't she one of the first ones?
She was the first one.
Yeah, it was like I saw the first three names. It was like her, it's like Sarah Good, and who was homeless. So that's the type of people that they were like accusing.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
I'll get into it with the
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
but there's no. I tried to kind of do some research on her and John Indian. There's nothing really on them.
Yeah, they got rid of a lot of evidence.
Yeah, there's nothing on them.
And plus, they were not wealthy people. So
No, those are the people that were.
yeah. Except for John Proctor or something like that. I think that's the
Proctor
name.
or something like that.
He
Yeah.
was the first wealthy man to be considered a witch.
Oh yeah.
But he was wealthy. He had money. He had land. He wasn't like top tier. He was like, middle class, comfortable.
Not
So he was
a slave
not a
to
slave
the family.
and
Yeah,
not homeless.
so Tituba and John Indian were slaves to his family, but when he moved to Boston, he took them with him. He later married Elizabeth Elridge that year that he went back, and he had 3 children, Thomas, Betty, and Susanna. Samuel decided to change career and train to become a minister. Samuel Parris, that's his name. I don't know why I changed it right here. Parris became the official minister of Salem Village in 1689. The Salem Witch Trials began in the winter of 1692 when Parris's daughter Betty Parris and his niece Abigail Williams began displaying strange behaviors such as suffering fits, complaining of being pinched by invisible forces, and etc. They called a doctor who couldn't figure out what was wrong with them, so he told them that the girls were bewitched. It's funny that they talked about the girls suffering fits because they were young.
Yeah.
They were super young, so it's like puberty, like all those things. Like,
and I think Tituba didn't like them. Obviously,
yeah,
she was a slave.
Yeah,
so I feel like she was probably like whispering things in their ears, like "screw you."
Yeah,
and then
that shit backfired.
That shit backfired. It turned around.
Yeah,
but the thing is, she admitted to it.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Yeah, I fucking saw the devil."
Yeah, she
didn't she exactly say like the devil came up to me and said to serve him or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the girls would contort violently, walk on all fours, bark like dogs, and they would interrupt sermons, and they often said that they felt mute. The girls said that they dabbled in fortune-telling techniques, what we just were talking about, that Paris's family slave Tituba taught them. When the girls were asked who had bewitched them, the girls accused 3 outsiders in the community. On February 29th, Sarah Good, a pregnant homeless woman, who also had a 4-year-old daughter, was accused of being a witch alongside Sarah Osborne, who didn't attend church and was that was a big no-no back then because they were what were they?
What you would say mostly back then is that it was a theocratic society. So not only was there like government rule by like the governors and mayors and all that, but the church had a big say in the way that society ran.
Yeah, so if you're in that community back then when it was of importance and you're not going to church, obviously you're going to be one of the
you're going to be targeted.
Yeah, you're going to be targeted. So yeah, it was a big no. She was one of the first ones that people were pointing their finger at. Well, the girls pointed their finger at.
She has to be playing in the dark magic.
Yeah.
If she doesn't go to
church.
And just hearing this, like I just saw like, it was the children who started like pointing fingers. If they're under 10 years old, this is just normal stuff kids do.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be loud and disruptive in church. They're going to be doing all these things.
They were hella bored.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not allowed to do anything. You can't go out and play. You can't do anything because you're stricken to your chores, and then, you they came from a family that had to be presentable all the time. So for them to be bad, they were just getting attention.
Yeah, and then Abigail and
her cousin.
Yeah, they were cousins. Mm-hmm. So it's like if these 3 girls are the ones that are the first ones to be exhibiting these things, like you would think, oh, they're getting it from each other.
Yeah.
It's like, what a coincidence that they're all hanging out. They all hang out together. They're together all the time, and they're all doing the same thing.
And think about it. If your dad and uncle is a minister, he's probably writing his sermons in the house, and they're listening to him saying, the devil is going to freaking come over this country and take over, and you guys got to be protected. And they're hearing all these horror stories of what could happen. I mean, it plays with the kid's mind. They're like, oh, let's play.
Let's freak out dad.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think, like, I don't know. How do you not think about these things? Like, you know what I mean?
Because it probably never crossed their minds to be like, oh, no, my kid is lying to me. Because it's like, hey, my kid is my kid. I'm going to believe everything he said. Not only that, my kid is a son of God because I'm a minister. So everything that I've learned and all that, I surely passed on to my child. My child can't be deceitful and all that. My child is, the son of a pastor. And they obviously were not thinking about that at all.
And it's crazy to that the church was just so influential, but it wasn't doing the good that it's meant to have been doing.
Right.
Because they were,
I mean, let's be honest. When has the church ever done the right thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a whole different fucking
That's a whole nother,
I'm like, let's not get into that.
But, obviously they have really bad history, but I think it's because it's ran by people, by humans.
Oh, yeah.
Humans mess up all the time. And, religion could be spotless, but it's humans running it, and so they're gonna fuck it up.
And this is a perfect example of it.
Yes,
Like, perfect example. Yeah, so.
Of God being used as an upper hand to manipulate people into pointing fingers at one another, friends, families, neighbors, and say, no, you're the witch. No, you're the witch.
And it does say in the research that I did that it was said that they were pointing fingers at lower class people, homeless, whatever, to get rid of them because they didn't want those people in their community.
So remember how earlier I was talking to you about like there's an actual like history. I forget if I told you or was going to say that I was going to say more of it because what happened during the time is there was this war that took place between 1688 and 1697 called King William's War, which is the British and the British American colonies versus the French and the French American colonies. And they were just fighting it. They called it the 9 Years' War in the colonies. So what happened is that all the places where they were fighting, all those families and all those towns had to move from there and mostly went to Salem.
Yeah.
Salem Village to the Massachusetts Bay Colony. So there was just a ton of people came in.
Yep.
They didn't have the resources to do it. So all the rich
They lost
families.
family members.
Yeah, exactly.
They were homeless. They didn't have the resources.
And then they had the rich
And then-
families that came from the
And
other
they-
places
they
came
saw
in and
all
started
that
doing
trauma, you know?
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
They lived through that trauma. They're expressing their trauma.
Yeah, so what Bryan just said was kind of the very beginning.
I think that's a key point.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
major key point that people don't really know about the Salem Witch Trials.
Yeah, that, like I was
why?
telling him before when you were setting up that there's just so much that goes into this. It's not just what I'm telling you. I kind of I'm summarizing it, but there's what he said. Yeah, it plays a major role in this but there's just so much. I feel like if I was to really tell you or sit and talk, it'd be probably hours.
Oh yeah, no, because there's like shows about this, and they literally
There's
go
so
down
many
in the
people.
little like, oh, this month these 5 things
A
happened.
rabbit hole,
Yeah, and, like
literally.
these people have been suing each other for years.
yeah.
Their families have hated each other since they came from England.
Hence
And
why people were blaming each other. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just. También, it wasn't just like, oh, they don't go to church, they're poor, like let's get rid of them. It was people that there was tension. People
Yeah,
that
they were
didn't
like,
like each other.
That bitch said something about my pumpkin pie last year.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna fucking get her
Literally,
this year.
literally.
Yeah.
That's what. And it's like I said, that we could go down a rabbit hole. There's just so much information, but we're summarizing it a little bit. But I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up because I would have never known how to explain that. I read into that too, but I was like, that's a little too much for me. So Tituba was also one of the people that were accused of one of the 3 women that were accused. She was eventually released after falsely admitting she was a witch. So what happened was that they were saying, okay, well, if you admit that you're a witch, if you admit that you've been messing with the devil, we'll forgive you. We won't punish you as much. So that's why they said that she was like, okay, well, yeah, I have been, whatever. And they were like, if you point us into the direction of who is doing it.
Give me 2 or 3 names.
Yeah. So that is just fucking spiraled. It was like never ending. So in order for her to be released or be.
She had to sacrifice other people.
Yep. So she ended up saying name. Then she was released, and then that other person was taken in. Sarah Good, along with her 4-year-old daughter, were also put in jail for being witches. She ended up being hung on July 29th, 1692. And then Sarah Osborne died in jail in May 29th. So she wasn't hung, but she died in prison. And they were young.
What was the main ways that they executed these people? Because there was like 3 or 4
Yeah,
main
so
ways, right?
they would hang them, and then there was a man also that
Was crushed.
was crushed. They were putting weights. I'm assuming like rocks. I don't know, but
Yes.
he was crushed too. And then his wife, I think, was hung too.
And then people starved in prison because they have to pay for food and they have to pay for all the taxes, and they weren't able to because
And
they
then
weren't working.
the food was so
Not only
scarce back then.
they
and all
had
that.
that because of the war, because
Yeah.
they had to pay back all the
Yeah,
taxes,
exactly.
so nobody had any money.
Nobody had money.
And then
Yeah.
it's cold as fuck out there. I've heard like the weather was horrible.
It took place between You said the years, but I don't think you mentioned the months. But it started in February and ended in the May. So it started in the winter.
Yeah.
So fucking cold as shit,
Yeah.
especially since the East Coast. Well, you were just there, and you're probably freezing.
Was it how was
Well,
the
I think
weather?
I'm a bad person to ask because I love the cold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was literally like in a sweater like this, but I know that my family was cold.
Was dying.
I was like sweating.
Dude,
My brother's like, "Are you
same.
always like this?"
Dude, I'm like that.
You're
I'm
like, it's
yes.
30 degrees.
like
you're
right
out in
now
shorts.
it's like perfect.
I'm,
like
dying.
yeah. So, Bridget Bishop, an older woman who was known for her gossipy habits and being promiscuous, was also one of the accused. She would end up being the first person hanged on Gallows Hill.
Okay.
Did you go there?
Yeah.
I didn't.
No?
No. Yeah, we didn't have enough time. It was just.
Yeah,
There was a lot of places that we wish we would have gone that were
Yeah.
on
I
our
just
list.
don't
but
have the time, I didn't. I think that place is something else now, or there's like
It's
something there. There's something there. I don't know if it's a museum.
Oh, that's why we have a computer here.
Yeah. What is there?
Or like a, ¿cómo se llama? Like a plaque, or what is it called?
Like a memorial?
Yeah, like a memorial or something like that. Because I know there's one for.
I don't think people really know where they executed these people. I know that like they haven't really like figured out.
Pinpoint,
Yeah.
like, where.
Like because they destroyed so many records of it, like people don't know other than word of mouth, and I think Gallows Hill was like a word of mouth thing.
So
And then-
wherever Gallows Hill is right now, whether it be the actual place or like you said, wherever like word of mouth is, it's a museum and a theater. So it's an attraction in Salem, like place where they do
for
this.
sure work it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, making hella money doing.
Hella
I'm like,
money.
take my money.
You're like, I'm one of them. So 2 dogs were also killed for possibly being linked to the devil. Not even animals were safe.
Okay, so you know why that is?
No.
So in witchcraft and all that, I don't know if you heard of the term familiar.
Uh-huh.
So those
those are
animals
The familiars
were the familiars of the
of the
witches.
witches.
So it's just an animal that is like that they channel extra magical power through it. So that's why normally when you see a picture of a witch, there's a cat or there's a bird nearby because that's their familiar.
Like black cats.
Yeah, so
Crows.
I think the other thing is that they would transfer their spirit into the witch or into the animal, and then they can go spy on shit like that.
Like Annabelle vibes?
Yes, it's sort of like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that when I read that, I was like, what?
Why?
Yeah.
no, but yeah.
I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the only mention that it has of animals, but yeah, everywhere that I've read it says
I mean, it
2
makes
dogs.
sense.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, nearly 200 people were falsely accused of being witches. 25 people were killed during the trials. And in 1693, William Phibbs, the governor of the colony, learned that his wife was being accused of witchcraft. So he ordered an end to the trials and released all that was accused
How
from jail.
convenient.
Dude.
As soon as they get affected by it, they're like, you know what? No, this is not real
This
anymore.
isn't real.
Like this whole time, you didn't give a fuck. You didn't even.
I heard that he was. I'm sorry. I heard that he was like trying to stop it because it was all based on speculation.
Yeah, there
And
was no
like,
evidence.
No evidence. So I heard he tried to, but the guy from Salem was just like the mayor, or whatever. He's like, no, this is gonna be the way that it is, and they're witches. And there was even people that were being prosecuted that were like, send me to Boston, send me out of town to have my trial done. And the guy's like, nah.
Yeah, there was
100% of anybody that was accused was being killed.
There was this type of evidence that they used. I can't remember what it was called. Spectral.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Just what you see.
yeah, like, or if you were dreaming, if you dreamt that something was messing with you, or if you dreamt in your dreams something was grabbing you, pinching you, touching you, which is where these girls. That's what they used when they went to trial. That they were being pinched or whatever in their dreams, and that was
literally it's I dreamt this person
yeah,
was doing
and
witchcraft.
they were using
yeah.
So
that.
it's the
The girls
same
were
way.
saying that.
Yeah, so it's the same way when a girl tells you you were cheating on me in your dreams.
Yeah, no, that's real.
exactly
Ask any
the
woman in the
same.
world. It's real. Yeah, so that's the only. Yeah, so after he was
I
like,
love that example.
Yeah, perfect. He was like, okay, we're not using that evidence anymore. Like, this is all a joke, whatever. But I think because it's so funny though, because a lot like that man that was crushed that we talked about, he was killed for defending his wife.
Yes.
But obviously, he wasn't in the same class as the mayor back then. So when his wife was accused, he shut shit down quick.
Right.
But that just goes to show the whole fucking point of this
Right.
whole
That,
mess.
that whole thing with the poor people, that even goes back to like the beginnings of the United States, because before,
Even now.
yeah, right, to vote back then, and like when the country was first started, you had to be landowning. Like that was the whole thing. You only had a voice. You only mattered if you
And then
were
it
rich.
was men.
And then white Christian men, and then freed slaves, and then women in the 1920s.
Yeah.
Barely.
Barely.
Yeah.
We barely made the cut.
It's been 100 years. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Like when I listened to another podcast about this, and then I was reading on it, and when I read that last part of how this whole thing stopped, I was like, and abruptly just was like stopped.
Yeah.
Like you thought it'd be like, but then, yeah, and then he ended up just releasing everybody from jail.
So about 19 people died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
19
it
people
was
were killed. During
30 people found guilty, 19 people were executed by hanging, 14 women and 5 men. So they had the exact numbers. The fact that it's mostly women that they were going after kind of shows you what else was going on, because the women were really the ones who were telling people like the little gossipy things, because the men were more working and didn't have jobs.
That shit
so-
always gets us in
yeah.
trouble when we don't learn.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Listen to this cheese
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it all started. Listen
Yeah.
to this
Give me a
cheese.
mic.
Yeah. Like maybe that's why I love fucking doing podcasts.
Because you guys are witches? Is that what you're telling me right now?
I'm like,
I plead the fifth.
so now that we kind of know a little bit of the history on the Salem Witch Trials, I want to know what it was like being there.
You know, it was kind of surreal. So I don't know if this was like anything. I wasn't really sensing anything. Even like in the Lizzie Borden house, I didn't pick up on anything. I stayed back in the tour, and I was by myself in all the rooms in that house. I didn't pick up on much. I caught a few orbs, but I didn't sense anything.
I forget. Did you say that you're like that you?
I normally
feel it?
am really sensitive,
Okay.
so I was really surprised that I didn't really pick up on anything there. I got really emotional going into the cemetery the first time. We went twice. I don't know why. I just felt like crying, but then it went away. Then it was just like, I don't know if I was just too excited, to be honest. But being in Salem, as soon as we got there, we were walking up towards like that main area where all the attractions are. I felt like I got stung by a bee on my chest. And I checked, and I had an instant red mark on my chest, right, like at my heart level. And then my cousin says, "Dang, even the ghost bees are attacking you." And then shortly after, we get to another, to the Ropes Mansion, and I'm standing there, and I feel it again on my thigh. And then I start thinking about how the girls were like, "Oh, I feel like pricks and pins and like pinching and stuff." And I was like, how funny that I felt it felt like a
Right.
bee sting. I've been stung 9 times, so I know what a bee sting feels like. I also felt like there was a ton of people there, and that kind of took away from the magic.
Yeah.
I heard a worker saying that they had, before that day, they had already had 700,000 people visit the town. Yeah, and they were like, they were at a record high where they couldn't keep up with food. When we were at a restaurant, they had to stop, and they told us it's going to be like 30 minutes because we ran out of food. We're restocking.
What time did you go? Or what time of year did you go?
So it was last weekend for
So,
Halloween.
no, okay. That's
Yeah.
why everybody was
Yeah.
there.
And then
Everyone
it's
was
after
there.
COVID.
After
yeah.
COVID,
I
it's
think
the first
people are
time.
people. The first year, I think after people were allowed to travel, it was kind of like
People are really
they were still
No,
scared.
dude, like as soon as that vaccine came out, that's when I went to Miami. It was busy. Everybody was out. Everybody was like, "Oh, I got vaccinated. I can go out and do whatever."
But
hell
I think
want."
now it's a
But
little
it's
bit
also
more-
Florida, so
I think now it's a little bit more freeing. Like people don't.
Yeah, people are very much free out
Yeah,
there.
so I think
So
maybe even
it
this year it was
so
even
freaking
more.
packed. So I feel like that kind of took away from the magic. I don't know. It was really cool. It was really amazing to see all the properties. Apart from those pinpricks that I felt, it was just really pretty. I didn't really pick up on anything, unfortunately.
Is there I feel like I would imagine it being mostly just tourist attractions.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of just people like regular homes there? Or is it more
There's-
like on the outskirts?
Oh yeah, like where is it?
So
Like, are you close? Is it close to Boston? Because I know it's
yeah, so
Massachusetts.
it's like 20 minutes away from Boston.
Okay.
It's yeah. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's close to towns. It's not far away. It's not isolated.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into one town and you're driving on the freeway, and then you're in the next town. Like there's no transition of like, oh, it was like lonely, and then all of a sudden you're in the town. No, it's a pretty established town. I mean, there's restaurants, hotels, Dunkin' Donuts in every corner.
There's a Dunkin' Donuts everywhere in the East Coast. It's
Everywhere.
crazy. Like Starbucks is here.
Yes.
Dunkin' is over there.
Dunkin' is over there. So it was just everywhere. And there were just a ton of people. And the homes there are right next to these historical homes. So people just casually live next to a historical home.
Okay, yeah, that's what kind of I was asking.
So, there's like apartments that everything is just like historical there. And it's well kept for the same reason, I think,
Yeah.
for the tourism. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like just, I don't know, colonial style homes.
That's crazy. It kind of
Even like the brick, it's like original. And
Yeah.
it's just so gnarly. The trees, the brick,
The trees that probably been there since. Like, they
yeah,
probably
we were
saw
talking
that
about
shit.
that. I think was it with you when we went to the bridge that we were like,
Oh, yeah.
the fact that we're here where people have died, just the history and just being somewhere where all that stuff happened.
Yeah, you're
But
walking on the same brick that these people were walking on.
So
and
is that kind of what you mean when you say that it was like surreal, or what did you say? What did you call it?
yeah,
Like you felt like the energy or something like
for
that.
sure, you could definitely pick up on that residual energy coming off
This
of
cemetery, was it the one where they buried most of the victims of the
the entire family's there. So the entire family, the Borden family, is all there in the family plot, and so it's like crazy to think
Oh, the
about.
Lizzie one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what the cemetery. I thought you meant like the cemetery for the witch trials.
Oh no, we didn't get a chance to go there either.
Okay.
Where are they even there?
It's probably all over the place.
I feel the people that were killed, they were just thrown into a shallow grave somewhere. And
Yeah, because I don't
knows.
think they were
No,
do like a
that's
whole.
that's just like a memorial where they have the tombstones of the people that were killed and
Yeah.
their names and age and all that. But they don't have their bodies.
You know, I was reading.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Reading on that, I'm just reading about the graves. They're like the witches of Salem were buried in pits so shallow their limbs were poking out through the ground.
Yep.
There's no respect for
And-
the dead there.
And that was
Well, not for them
Yeah,
when they
right.
thought.
and that was like word of mouth. It was obviously not recorded anywhere from the government. You know,
And
they were just trying to get rid of them. Like,
Yeah, and
all right, we're done with you.
after they forgave or whatever, I know that they had apologized to a lot of them. I don't know if they maybe dug them back up and did something with them.
I don't know.
I don't think there's
I know the
anything-
apology came like 200 and something years
Yeah,
after
no,
that
and
whole
then
thing
there, I
happened.
was reading. I was gonna say, there was somebody just a couple of years ago that was finally, how do you say it? Like
Not interred.
they like finally said like, oh, okay, she wasn't a witch. There's a word for that. But
Yeah.
they just a couple of years ago they were like, they finally was like, okay, she wasn't a witch. From
They
like
cleared her name.
Cleared her
That's like
name,
2
exactly.
Oh my God.
centuries ago.
Yeah, clear her name. And then I was also hearing something about that they found a note on the grave or one of the tombstones of one of the people that was accused that were hung. That somebody had left it, that they were like, oh, I'm sorry that my family did this to you, whatever.
Yeah.
One of the like people from that were accusing, it was like one of their families.
At the 300th anniversary events in 1992, they had a park was dedicated in Salem and a memorial in Danvers, which is where historical Salem is Danvers, Massachusetts.
Oh, they changed the name, right?
Yeah,
Because
they
there was
changed the
Salem
name.
Village and there was Salem Town.
Yeah, Salem
Yeah.
Village is Danvers now.
Okay.
And I think Salem Town is just Salem.
Yeah.
1957, an act was passed in Massachusetts that absolved 6 people. Well, another one passed in 2001 that absolved another person, or another 5 victims. So that's up to 11 in 2001.
Good Lord. How embarrassing is that?
Then 2016, there was a Gallows Hill project out of the University of Virginia that wanted to investigate Gallows Hill. And that's where they have another, I guess, memorial thing, is where they were digging up stuff.
Right.
So,
But
not all the victims were absolved.
I'm, like, shaking
that
my
was
head.
2001.
That's
11 out of the 30 people accused.
That's ridiculous. So embarrassing.
So, yeah, literally.
Like, why even bring it up?
At this point.
At this point, like, dude.
Like,
Be
you
like,
guys
I'm
are
sorry, and just move on.
Yeah, like why do you guys keep bringing this
My
shit
bad.
up, embarrassing yourselves? Dude, this shit was just such a mess, and it's so fucking sad. Like, it's even Sarah Good's 4-year-old daughter was interrogated.
Yeah.
And she's 4. Like, if you're grown, if there's grown ass men asking you fucking questions that you don't even fucking know
At 4 years old.
Yeah, like I could like. My daughter, Emma, the smallest one, she'd probably just be like, yeah, literally fucking, I could imagine her just like crying, you know, and because of that, they were like, she's a witch.
Oh, yeah, no, like, she's offered me water before, and I'm like, cool. But she says like 3 words to do it. Like, how are they getting any information out of a 4-year-old?
Yeah.
And
That shit was so sad.
Let's just even say the 4-year-old can speak, too.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say that back then they were teaching the kids to speak really
I just
early?
And
don't
wasn't that one of the
understand.
things, one of the symptoms of
and
being
then
mute?
okay, yeah. There was things too that they did to see if they were a witch. Like they would bake a cake and put their urine in it, and I think they gave it to a dog, and if the dog didn't eat it, something like that.
And then if you floated, but if they added weights to you, and if you float, you're a witch. And
Oh
if
no!
you sink,
Okay, so
you're-
the thing with that is that they would tie them.
Yeah.
They
it
would
was
bound their
tied.
hands, and they said if you're a witch, you would float.
Yeah.
But if you, but it's
Sink
like
and die.
yeah, but it's
you're
like
a human.
either way you're
That's
fucked.
not a witch.
Either way you're fucked, because how are you gonna
You're
get out?
drowning,
You're gonna
yeah.
fucking drown. Like
The minute you come back up out of the water, they're gonna hang you.
yeah.
Like, yeah, say
That's
you were able to get
horrible.
out of the fucking rope, right? Just by like twisting
Like
yourself
when did
around.
common
like, what-
sense come into play in human existence? Because
Yeah.
Still never. Have you watched TV?
it just like blows my fucking mind.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah,
Honestly,
dude.
that's the only way I could explain it. Just same way that
There
I was
was-
trying to explain to you about being at the Pilgrim Village. It was so embarrassing. It's such an embarrassing feeling to be somewhere. And I overheard a man tell his foreign girlfriend, "Oh yeah, look at all this that the pilgrims built. I don't know how they were able to build this and be so developed." Hello, because they had the help of Native Americans to help them hunt and gather all their food and teach them like where to get
Teach 'em how to-
resources.
how
Like, how do
live
you
on the
not
land.
fucking know this?
Like it was so embarrassing, like to hear this man preaching this shit to his girlfriend who was not American, and it was so embarrassing. I just couldn't. And then there's like one little tiny section of Native American, things that they were selling at the gift shop. It was so small. They had like one little teepee hut for the family, and then they had a whole ass village for the pilgrims.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure even that East Coast Native Americans, they didn't do teepees. They did more
it was like
log cabins.
Yeah, it was like
huts.
it was like a hut, like a cabin looking thing. It was really cool, but it's so sad to think like this is all you're gonna show to represent.
And the fact que no tienen vergüenza to still make money from this, to be like, let's take what America did to these
My
Americans.
ancestors came to this land. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, but okay, that's a whole different thing. But I'm saying like these people no tienen vergüenza to make money off of what Americans did to other Americans. And they're still
natives.
like making fucking money from it.
Yeah.
Like that's embarrassing.
It was like a really shitty feeling, and like to be in a fort where, you're okay. That the structure is really cool to look at. It's, it's a replica, but it's still really cool. But then it's like, damn, they made this fort to protect themselves from Native Americans that were trying to save the slaves that were captured by these people, by the pilgrims. And I'm like looking at these cannons like, fuck, how are the Native Americans gonna compete with these fucking cannons?
They were shooting those cannons at people.
At humans.
They had like a scale of a cannonball next to it, right?
They didn't there.
Have you ever seen a cannonball? No. They're like huge. It's like
huge.
A basketball.
I mean, the cannon was enormous, so I could only imagine what goes in there. It's so fucked up. And it's just like, oh, look at these cannons. Aren't they cool?
The fact that they're still there. You would think that you would fucking burn and get rid of that shit, right?
So it's just, I don't know. I think they could have done it a little differently.
It's because people don't think about things like that. Like people go there and they're just, I don't know. Nobody's gonna tell. No, like in school, nobody's gonna teach you how fucked up America was. You know what I mean? They're only gonna tell you what.
Because the people who are coming up with that story are the people who are like, oh, the kids shouldn't hear about the fucked up shit that we do.
Yeah,
and the fact that you don't hear about it even through high school, the only reason I heard about it through high school is because I took like the AP classes, and then I was talking to my friends who are in the normal classes.
They don't teach that in normal classes.
You have to go to like a college class to actually hear what actually happened, what like the dirty shit that fucking came down.
What my history teacher, U.S. history teacher, she was like, see this book? Fuck this book. We're not learning from this book at all. Never touched it again after that. She taught us off of this other book called, the author, his name, rest in peace, is Howard Zinn. And this fool, he was like, told you everything from like the nitty gritty to like what really happened. And she's just like, what's in this textbook, if we compare, their first chapter has nothing to do with like all the horrible things that the Native Americans had to go through and the illnesses and everything. And in this book, they're teaching you the real shit. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. You don't think anything of it until you go into the real world and you realize that real people do not know the real history of the U.S.
The book was called The People's History of the United States,
yes.
right? Yeah.
I love that book.
Yeah, and for me with that shit is the one that I always go back to is the fucking Mexican-American War, which no one gives two thoughts to it.
No.
They're like, oh, the U.S. came in and they fought Mexico and beat Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, that could be a whole episode in of itself, because if I stay here and talk about it, it's going to be like a whole hour of me, like,
and it wasn't
ranting.
that long ago.
No.
It wasn't that long
was right before the Civil War.
Isn't
was the
that
Mexican-American
nuts?
War.
That's crazy to think that it was not that long ago.
Yeah. I'm
And-
Yeah, like even what the witch trials were 16 something. Less than 100 years later was that Revolutionary War. To think that less than 100 years between that and that we became more civilized, quote unquote.
No.
Everything that we've done is fucked. It starts with some bullshit and then it gets forgotten about. Like I said in the beginning, all I thought the Salem Witch Trials were that people were witches and they were hung for it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was so fucked up.
Yeah.
That all these people were innocent people, even kids, fucking not even dogs were safe.
No,
And it's
You
fucking
were seen
crazy.
with that lady. I'm gonna kill the dog.
Yeah.
for sure.
Like, okay.
And yeah, even Sarah Good's baby, she was pregnant and her baby died.
Yeah.
Wait, she was pregnant when they hung
She was
her?
pregnant. No, she was pregnant when she was in
In jail.
Oh,
in jail.
okay.
In jail.
And then they hung her after. Okay.
Yeah, and her baby died. Just because they didn't, like she
Like,
said, they didn't
yeah.
have, they weren't going to feed you.
Yeah.
They're not going to fucking feed an extra person, especially if the mom was a witch.
Yeah.
Have your mom conjure some food
Yeah,
or some
exactly.
shit, right?
Yeah. It's just, it's fucked up. This whole thing is shady. Yeah, that's America for you.
It's America.
There's so many stories
Yeah,
that
the East
are
Coast,
like this.
It has a ton of history.
Yeah.
Beautiful and sad.
It's sad. It's cool that everything's still there, but they don't showcase what it really was. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like,
Superficial
Yeah.
and whatever makes us look good.
yeah, literally, they're not
Yeah.
gonna fucking tell you like how shitty they've been.
Like how they make us do the California, was it mission projects in like 3rd, 4th
Oh
grade?
yeah,
And then you grow up and you actually know what
What
they
happened
did. Yeah.
in the missions? Oh my gosh! Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of a slap in the face.
me and
for
Jonathan
me.
went to the one in Santa Barbara.
Oh, that was
okay,
beautiful.
Yeah.
I've
We-
been to like almost all of them in Southern
Really?
California. Mhm.
Yeah,
My dad
Jonathan
was, like, obsessed
loves
with that.
history too. So when we went, like I didn't even know it was there, but when we went, it was. We took a tour and it was really really nice, and he was like overjoyed being there. Yeah, he loves history. I think you guys, your family's like,
Yeah, my dad used to love going to my mom too, to all the missions. So that's what we would do on our downtimes on the weekends.
where is there more?
There's one right here in Pala. There's San Juan Capistrano.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've heard of that one.
Yeah, there's what is it, San Miguel or San Gabriel? What is it called?
I
It's the
don't
one in
think
San
it's
Diego.
Mission San Gabriel. No.
No.
Well, that's why we have the Google.
Oh, I look over to you. I'm like, Google.
Yeah, right?
So convenient, right?
Google, can you look up Southern California missions?
I'm like, for this being my podcast, Bryan does a lot for us.
I'm just a guest.
Yeah.
I'm here for the chisme. I look up nothing.
We're all chilling out, like.
Okay, so if we're going to list all these down, Mission Basilica San Diego, Old Mission San Luis Rey,
That
which
one's
is
the
in
one I was thinking
Oceanside.
Oh, Oceanside.
Yeah, that one's
Those are
Oceanside.
so close.
That one was beautiful.
Yeah.
That one has like the first, I think it's the pepper tree.
I think so.
It,
Lavender tree. Oh, no.
No,
It has
they
a
have a-
massive lavanderia. So there's a massive open air laundry in the middle of that mission.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But they
You're
have
like lavender.
no,
Lavender,
they have
sure.
they have a giant tree there, El Pirul, I think it is,
Uh-huh.
what my dad would call it. And it was one of those trees, and it was brought over from like Europe or something.
San Juan Capistrano, San Gabriel Ananquel, which is in
Oh,
know where
Fred's
that's in.
man has
Dude, those are
San
so
Fernando.
close.
yeah. There's a ton.
Old Mission Buenaventura, which is in Ventura, Mission Santa Barbara, Old Mission Sant Ines, which is Slovene, Lompoc, San Luis Obispo, San Miguel.
There's a ton.
There's 21.
And they're like literally next door.
Field trip.
Dude.
Yeah, that could be one.
Let's go ghost
I'm
hunting there.
so fucking down.
I was, for me as a kid, like my memory of walking through the hallways of these missions and hearing the surround sound music of the monks, like
the
singing their
chanting and all that.
the
yeah,
hymns.
the Gregorian chants.
Oh my god, like that shit gives me the chills. Like it was so freaky because it's like dim, and then you see all the setup of how they lived and their, it's just creepy.
It's like eerie.
It
kind
is,
of,
it
huh? But
is.
it's like what they do.
It
like,
was
they're
supposed to
not.
be, it's supposed to be very religious.
Dude, I'm down. And we could like record.
In there. See if we can
I
get
need to buy
like
mics.
the tour guide to like do it. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super down. I didn't know they were so close.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a ton. But, and
Even
it
nearby
was,
here, there's like 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
You can go visit.
like I said, Paula is like, what, 30, 40 minutes away?
Speaking of churches. You went to St. Paul's
Is that the one that's over there?
in New York?
Oh,
Is that what it's
yes.
called?
The one in Manhattan?
The St. Peter's?
St. Peter's
St.
facility?
Peter's.
The one that's right in the middle of like
Right
Times
in the
Square.
middle
yeah,
of Times
yeah.
Square.
It's across the street from the Lululemon.
I think you're saying 9/11.
No, Lulu. It's literally. So I was walking past it. I see the. It's
I'm like,
big
I
old
thought it was gonna be like
basilica,
9/11.
right?
Yes, it's beautiful.
And then it's right across the street from Lululemon.
They were having
Like,
an event, so they didn't let us in.
They were letting people in when
Like
I was
church?
there. I think
Yeah, it
we went
was
on
like-
like a Thursday or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we went on a Friday.
Dude,
No,
that
they were probably
It
doing
was-
like rites or something.
it was beautiful. The picture that you
It was breathtaking.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's
literally-
if you guys haven't, if you don't know what we're talking about, I made a highlight thing of it on our page, on our Instagram page. I think I did it on the TikTok one too, but yeah, super nice.
beautiful.
Yeah, and then there's like those
And it's just like
statues are
random
so-
because it's like everything around there is just so like all these giant
Modern.
buildings, modern, and yeah. But and then you just see this beautiful cathedral, or well, I don't know what
it's
it is.
not
but
big, right?
It's pretty big.
Is it? Because I mean, compared to
It-
what's around it.
Oh, no.
Because I
Oh,
googled
no.
pictures
No.
online and it looked so tiny.
It looks
St.
super-
Patrick's.
St. Patrick's.
Yes. No,
Something-
it's small. Like in terms of like everything else around it, because everything is
Yeah, 'cause
all
that's how it looks.
huge
huge.
buildings,
Yeah,
and it's
that
just
enormous
it's
like,
right there.
Yeah, that's-
skyscrapers and then a church.
Yeah, that's how it looked like. That's how it was like. But I mean, I
But
guess
it
being
was.
there, it's
I mean,
different.
when you're standing next to it, it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
It's enormous.
it looks like they just like picked it up from the middle of Europe
Yes.
and put it in the middle of the city.
Seriously, that's what
Yeah.
it feels like.
That's
And then
dope.
you turn around and it's like, oh,
No.
I'm in New York.
Here, hot dogs.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Did you go to the what is it? The 9/11
The memorial.
memorial?
Yeah, I got really emotional
Yeah,
there.
that's what I was gonna ask you. How did it feel?
Yeah, so I was really pissed off. I was
Really?
like mad. Like if anybody tried to talk to me or say anything to me, I knew I would have blown up. I would have just been like a fucking bitch.
What?
It was such a weird feeling because we get there, everything's peachy, everything's great. We're walking up, and then all of a sudden I'm just like power walking up to it, and I'm just like staring at it, and I'm just like upset, just mad, and it's so crazy. It's such a small area to know that so much tragedy went down there, and how everything is so unbothered around it.
That's like the biggest thing I got from New Yorkers. They don't give a shit.
No.
They literally, you could be standing in their way and they'd be like, move, and then push you
Yes.
and keep going.
Yeah.
But they won't say sorry or anything because you're standing in their way.
You're in their way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not standing.
Goes
to
back
look
to
at
like
something.
I got
Yeah.
yelled at in every state.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Like, well, I mean, I guess like you move on, but like people just move on.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so many people.
Oh
die.
no! So my stepdad, he actually went
Uh-huh.
to New York. I think he said like a week or two after
It happened?
it happened in 2001.
You were allowed to go over there?
Yeah, you were allowed to go over there. You weren't allowed to get close to it because of all the fucking like dust and shit
rubble.
and rubble. But he was saying like it was one thing to be there like that soon after it, and then he said he went again after it was all cleaned up and they have a memorial, and it's like it's two different things. Like you go once and you actually see the shit, and then you go again and it's all cleaned up.
Yeah.
Like
And
it's forgotten.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for as forgotten as it can be, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It felt like that. And I don't know if I was picking up on like that anger of just being forgotten or just dismissed, I guess. It's like
It's almost dismissed because you
It's-
hear all the people saying, "Oh, it didn't really happen." You know, the
Yes.
government did it. It's like,
there's like all these
Theories.
theories.
like I don't
and
care your theories.
Yes.
People died.
hundreds of people died.
Yeah.
And it was like really upsetting to think about, like all those people that firefighters and first responders going up into this building knowing they weren't going to come out, knowing that they're never going to see their families again, and they're risking their lives to try to save at least one other human being. And it was very, very like moving and very upsetting at the same time.
And the people that just jumped off
Yeah,
because they
they were that desperate.
They didn't see what other way to get out of it. Like, damn. And
Oh.
you see those pictures of them like middle of the air flying down. Like that was their last choice.
Oh, that's so
That
sad.
shit gives me the chills.
So that's the only. How recent was it your New York trip?
I
Was
just
this
went
one? You
when I
just
went to.
Okay. What other things did you do? Because I went first week, but I didn't really do like touristy stuff.
So we hit up all the regular touristy spots like that, and then we went to Central Park. We didn't go to the Statue of Liberty. We just went to like the edge of the
Ellis Island.
Yeah. Well, it's like that edge where you're looking out into the ocean.
Oh, okay.
And then went to Brooklyn Bridge. We went exploring through the subways. That was pretty gnarly. I really like subways.
Yeah.
The subways are nice.
I feel like that's a whole experience.
It was an
is.
experience for sure. I mean, I personally think that they should have subways everywhere. It's so crazy. They have a whole ass city underneath the world.
Yeah.
And it's like different layers of subways because it's like you go and you're on the top layer and they're like, no, you have to go to the bottom layer, which goes this and that, and we're like, okay. Then you go to the one. You go to the one in LA, and it's like
There's a subway there?
Yeah, there's a subway system in LA. But see, nobody fucking knows about it.
Nobody
because
knows
it
about
could
it.
take you to from
Is
Long
that at
Beach.
the Union Trans
Union
station?
is in the middle of it. That's like the hub of it.
But is that where the subway? Like,
Yeah,
you can,
they
Wait,
connect it.
what?
Yeah, Union Station where you take the Metrolink over there.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've taken the Metrolink out there, but didn't know there was a subway.
Yeah, you can go
That's
all the way
dope.
out to Malibu. Malibu it connects to Long Beach, connects a little bit to like San Diego
Field trip
Valley.
number 2.
Yeah.
Go on a subway
yeah.
to
See,
California.
with that one, then we can go to the Cecil Hotel.
Ooh, yeah.
See, that's what I was getting to with the New York, because it's like I didn't really do the touristy stuff, but like when I was walking through the cities and all that, I was just going through like brick road places. Like I was down near Dumbo, which is close to the Manhattan Bridge. That's where all the pictures that everybody takes. And you're walking on these like brick stone, cobblestone like roads. You're like, oh, this is old. Like this is like stuff from the early 1900s. It's not even the 1800s stuff. This is like Depression era.
Yes.
So the thing I was getting to is like, what if you walked into some place where like Al Capone and all that other like mob shit went to, like, do you feel shit there? Because you said you were feeling, you know, angry at 9/11. You were feeling sad when you were at the cemetery. I'm like curious, where else can we bring you that you get these
I get these
like
emotions.
what would you get from it? You know,
Yeah.
like same thing with the Cecil Hotel. What would you feel there? What
I
would you
know.
feel
I'm
at certain
actually. I would
places?
be scared to go into the Cecil Hotel.
Really?
Just because I would. Yeah. Because I would be scared to know what I would pick up on.
You know, the only reason that I don't know why I've never been there. I mean, I've driven by, but maybe the times that I've been wanting to go, it's closed. It's open now, right?
I think so. I think because of the Netflix show, they started opening it again.
But it's still a hotel, right? You can still stay there.
I thought it was like a residential area.
it's apartments,
Oh, okay.
It's like
or most of it's apartments.
like people that. What is it? Section 8.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
like low income.
Yes, that's the word I was looking.
Yeah, I want to go. I don't know why I've never gone because my favorite case ever in the whole true crime community is Lisa Lam.
That one's is such a strange one. What is your theory on that? Like, it was just she was off her meds?
Yeah. I don't think anybody killed her. I don't think there was foul play. Yeah.
I think that's fucked up.
I think she was just. It's because the evidence is there.
Yeah.
But there's so many theories, but the evidence is there. Whether it be paranormal, I don't know, dude. It's because that hotel has so much history.
I know.
So much history that it could have been something paranormal or something demonic that was fucking with her. But I just think that
I would have been so much more questionable if she didn't have those mental illnesses.
Yeah, because
Did
you see the documentary on Netflix? Dude, that one's really good.
That was really good.
Yeah, that one's really good. They go back to, like how you're saying, they talk about her mental illness, her Tumblr, all the stuff that she was writing on there, up to the day that she disappeared. And yeah, I mean, it just all points to that.
Yeah.
You know, and people are still, I don't know, there's theories that she was murdered, somebody put her in there, whatever.
That she's a witch. Sorry.
Is there?
No.
I'm like, I haven't heard that one.
I needed to bring it back. The only reason I said it because you said the stuff about the mental illness, and like when you think about it, back then, that's probably what they were also mentioning for people who were saying they had fits. Because, like,
Oh,
if you have
yeah.
schizophrenia, you're just saying random ass shit, you know?
I think
You have Tourette's.
back to
Tourette's,
that,
too.
yeah, back
Yeah.
to, now that you brought it back to that, they were saying something about a fungus.
Ergot poisoning. I've been
Yeah.
wanting to bring this up because
Oh.
I don't know how much you guys know about
I don't
ergot
know
poisoning. So ergot is a type of mold fungus that grows on bread.
Yeah,
If it's let
yeast
out,
or
yeah,
whatever.
what it
fucking
is,
rye.
it's a
rye.
Yes, rye bread mostly. What it is, it's a precursor to psychedelic drugs. Something that's like LSD or acid.
Oh shit.
So if that happened in like the 1700s is a big case where a whole French town all of a sudden one day started fucking crazy dancing. Everybody's dancing in the street, and that one is pointed toward ergot. So imagine you're on acid, you're on LSD, you hear music, right? And I mean, you're vibing to whatever.
You
so
hear, you see,
you
all
hear
kinds of
things
shit.
exactly. So that whole town was all tripping on something, dancing, and that's what some theories are for Salem Witch Trial. That's mass hysteria because of some sort of ergot poisoning. Something was in the water, got everybody sick, and everybody was saying the same thing
For sure.
about it.
But
And,
they also said, why was it only happening to women?
yeah. And
So
the whole thing.
that's what kind of shut it
Women.
down a little bit.
But women are the ones making all the food, cooking it, and eating it.
True.
So they're the
Stop
ones.
blaming everything on us.
Hey,
No, but yeah,
you can blame
But he's not
the
lying.
rest of the
Yeah,
world
he's
on us.
I did
The
read that
trials you
though.
can blame on the guys.
But I think that's another just America trying to cover how fucked they are.
Oh yeah, because you could tell there's like child abuse stuff that was going on. If it's a
Yeah,
bunch
they
of kids.
said that child abuse, mental illness, the
Mm-hmm.
fucking fungus. There's all kinds of theories, but I mean, at the end of the day, what I think is that they were just kids. They're preteens. They're going through shit. Their hormones are
Hormonals.
fucked.
They're bored.
Yeah, they're bored. They're fucked. They're privileged. They're spoiled. When do you not see a movie when kids that are privileged and rich as fuck act like that?
Yeah, they get away with everything.
Yeah, literally. Like, and their parents, like,
Support it.
growing up in the church, like, you know,
They're like, yeah, my child is telling the truth. Your child is unworthy of telling the truth because you're not.
exactly.
Well,
I honestly just think that's what it was. I don't think it was anything else. And then it just spiraled because people were getting blamed, and then we're blaming everyone else because they were like, okay, well, if you tell me who did this to you, we'll let you go.
Yeah.
So then it
so
just
of course
fucking-
you're gonna blame it on anything.
Yeah.
And it was the
to
dog.
survive.
It was
Tituba was fucking smart because that bitch was like, it was her, and she fucking saved herself. But everybody else was like, I mean, stood their ground, you know? I mean, pride, shit.
Well, I mean, in a sense, maybe they weren't telling the truth, you know,
Well,
or maybe
también.
they were.
Mhm.
Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's
It just a lot of people had to die. For then later in 2001, people saying,
They
"I'm
had
sorry,
to die.
had to die." Air quotes had to die.
yeah,
for people in 2001
Yeah.
to be like, "I'm sorry."
yeah, literally. And it took generations and generations for, like, the note that I was talking about, for somebody to go and apologize. You know?
Right.
And maybe that's all that person, that spirit, whatever, needed
To cross over.
over, you know, as an apology.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that's fucked up. But I hope you guys learned a little bit more about the Salem Witch Trials and the Pilgrims.
The
And
Pilgrims.
what else did we talk about?
The leaves, the magical leaves.
How the East Coast has a very, very interesting, like, not just normal history, but like the dark
Yeah.
history of New
There's
England.
so many things that I want to talk about and so little time. And it's the holidays, you guys.
I
So
know. So bear with us.
yes, please bear with
on-
us. For all you, our regular listeners, thank you for being patient. Here is your episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And for our irregular listeners, there is X-Lax.
And if you guys are wondering about all the pictures and stuff that we were talking about, I have a lot of the ones that Dena took on.
We'll post some more.
Yeah, I'll
Put some more history out there.
Yeah, but there's some of them about with the church. What was it? St. Peter's?
St. Patrick's.
Those are on our Instagram on the highlights, and then the Lizzie Borden house is on there. I think that's it, actually. Because I just took the ones that you had posted.
Yeah, I'll send you more.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Or
send
you
you-
just put it on
like
there.
of the inside. I do have like a video of the basement in the Lizzie Borden house where the guide, he's like, don't record while I'm talking, but I'm bad. And I was. And while he was talking,
Like the tour guide?
yeah, a bunch of orbs were flying by and everything moving. And then he moves on to the next room, and I stay back. Like I told you guys, I would stay back. And I re recorded the exact same location, and there was like nothing. There was nothing that came up on the screen. So I feel like maybe these spirits do like the energy of
yeah,
of the
human.
attention that we're giving them.
Did you frame by frame anything? Catch
I
anything?
haven't yet.
We always, well, you always fucking catch something.
I always catch something.
Yeah.
My cousin's fiance, he caught. He took a picture with flash, and you could see the silhouette of like a man or a human standing
Oh,
with like head,
shit.
and it goes from the floor all the way up. It's just like a white mist.
Ooh, tell him to send that to you.
That one's that one's pretty
Tell-
cool.
tell him we'll give him credit.
Spirit photography.
Yeah,
This is another one of the topics I have on this list. That shit is interesting.
I love spirit photography. I love it.
Yeah.
So I'll send you what I have. It's just a lot. So I haven't even gone through everything that I've recorded and taken pictures of. So, but I
Yeah.
will.
But whatever's on there already, go and check it out. Pretty cool. And yeah, that's it for today, guys. Hopefully there'll be something out next week. Bryan has a list for us already, so that helps a lot of bit. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode once again, and thank you for listening. Till next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.